It's August 1st. Football is in the air. You can almost smell it out there. High school football is in just a couple weeks. Georgia's season opening game against Clemson is later this month, just 30 days away. And of course, the NFL season is right after that. And there's a lot of buzz coming out of the NFL right now as it relates to some of these Georgia Bulldog rookies. Apparently, a lot of them are tearing it up. There's been some quotes from some of the head coaches talking about Brock Bowers, Kamari Lassiter, among others I'm going to talk about in this video. But it's safe to say that these Bulldog rookies who were drafted in last April's NFL draft are already starting to turn heads. That's not a surprise. Georgia's a place where you go because it, trains you and develops you the way an NFL program does, the way it's run, the way they practice, the way they compete, the expectations. I mean, you go to Georgia to win, and that's how a lot of teams try to run their NFL organization. So we're going to dive into all that. So let's start with Brock Bowers, right? I saw a clip yesterday, an NFL insider. I'll try to get his name in just a second for you, but he was talking to Antonio Pierce about Brock Bowers, saying there's usually a learning curve a little bit when it's your tight end translating in the NFL. It was Jonathan Jones, NFL insider. This is what Antonio Pierce said. He said he's already ahead of the curve, talking about Brock Bowers. He said this guy is special. He gets it. He played the game at a high level in college. He's taken the playbook seriously. He's taking things from the meeting room to the practice field. He's not a repeat offender. Talking about, just when he doesn't do something correctly, they talk about it, boom, he's back out there. He's not making the same mistake twice. The ball means a lot to him. That's all he cares about. He doesn't want to sing or talk to the media. He was kind of joking in that way, but he said he just wants to put the pads on. Dude was a quiet assassin, was never that way at Georgia either. The guy's all football all the time. Slipped to the Raiders, what was it, 12, 13? I think it may have been 13. Quick story, I was actually watching the NFL draft with a buddy of mine who's a big Raiders fan. He went to South Carolina, and all of his Raider buddies were kind of puzzled by the pick because they had already drafted a tight end, I think, last year. They got a lot of holes on their roster, and they take a tight end. So a lot of those Raider fans that have never watched Brock Bowers play at Georgia had no idea who he was. They thought it was a bad pick. My buddy who saw Brock Bowers torch them, especially in Columbia 2 years ago, 3 touchdowns, did it all kind of ways. It was incredible. He said, no, this guy can play. This Brock Bowers kid is special. Raider fans should be excited, as they should. And, Antonio Pierce is already making the comment, hey, this kid's here to work. He's here to compete. He's here to make plays early. And I think Brock Bowers is going to. Everyone watching this video knows that the guy just was one of the best players on the team at Georgia as a freshman, and is the greatest college football tight end of all time. He is the best tight end to ever play college football. 2-time Mackey Award winner, 2-time national champion, has made some of the biggest plays and catches we've seen throughout Georgia history. He's the best pass catcher Georgia's ever had, and he did it at tight end. But he's not just a traditional tight end, and the Raider fans are going to know that soon when they watch him play. He can do so much. And I want to talk about Kamari Lassiter in a second, but I do hope that Georgia fans remember how good Brock Bowers was and how important he was in the Ohio State game, in the national championship game against Alabama, all throughout his career. The guy was incredible. There's not going to be another one like him. I've got a big story coming on Oscar Delp on Dawg Post, behind the scenes look throughout his recruitment, his time at Georgia, becoming one of the faces of the team right now. But Brock Bowers, special player. He's going to make a lot of plays in Las Vegas. Kamari Lassiter, who I think is one of Kirby Smart's favorite players since his time at Georgia, without a doubt. He loved Kamari Lassiter. It looks like D'Amico Ryans, the Houston Texans head coach, loves him as well. He was asked about Kamari Lassiter a few days ago. Here's what he had to say. He said, Kamari is showing up every day. He's quiet, but he's locked in, focused, and intense. You don't notice him much because he's always doing his job. He's always where he should be. He's always in position and doing what we ask him to do. Which is exactly what he was at Georgia. I mean, this is a tough, gritty cornerback who could pop you. He could fight through a block against the run or in the attack against the screen short passing game. Receivers trying to block Kamari Lassiter, that's not fun. He will take you on, shed that block, and go attack the ball carrier. And he plays with such, a vicious mentality, but it's all, centered aggression. But he can cover too. Ryans went on to add about him. Everything has been positive with him. He's exactly the guy we saw from the Georgia film. He's a dog. He's locked in. It'll show even more up I wrote that incorrectly. When the pads come on, we just remember the Georgia tape and how physical he was when it came to tackling. We're encouraged where he is, and we think he'll continue to ascend and get better. So Kamari Lassiter is another guy who is already flashing the ability to be a starting cornerback in the NFL. He might not do it as a rookie, but he's going to play this year and find a role. They've got Derek Stingley, I believe, who's obviously a very talented player on one side. And I don't know if they're expecting Kamari to come in and be a starter soon, but he has that ability. He brings it physically, and the guy can cover as well. He's smart. He competes. He loves football. And Kirby Smart was just gushing over him after that Orange Bowl against Florida State where they won by 150, 160 points. He was just talking about Kamari Lassiter, who could have sat out that game like the entire Florida State roster. Kamari Lassiter did not have to play, but he wanted to play one more time in the red and black, play for his teammates, play for his team, his school, his program, and he had a big game. And Kirby said, dude, you didn't have to at all, but it's his mindset. He's not going to sit on the bench when he has an opportunity to play one more time in college, especially coming after that loss to Alabama where the season, the Orange Bowl didn't matter. And that's a big reason why the Florida State roster basically said, no thanks, we're out of here. But again, Kirby loved the fact that Kamari Lassiter loves his team, and he's showing that he's a dog. He was always a dog, and he's going to make some plays with the Texans. Amarius Mims, everything I've heard out of Cincinnati, he is big, he is physical, still a little raw. Again, he dealt with some injuries at Georgia, didn't start a crazy number of games, but was always a reliable backup before earning a starting role. But he was consistent, and he's big and long and everything we thought he was out of high school. Very good player is the reason he was picked in the middle of the first round. But I do think he is going to help their offense in a big way. The more he plays, the more experience he gets, the better he's going to be. So his best football is way ahead of him. And I think you've got to be a happy dude if you're Joe Burrow and you've got this big, long, athletic right tackle coming in to help out in the run game as well, but also be a guy who's basically in front of you. You can look around him, right? But Joe Burrow, another reliable tackle, is a big deal. And then McConkey, I don't know if you're on social media, you may have seen the catch already. It went basically viral around the Chargers media area, or I guess across Twitter, right? Because I saw it, a bunch of people saw it. But he's running this big post down the field, and the ball's a little behind him, and he jumps, contorts his body, catches the ball, and comes down easily in the end zone. There's another clip where he's getting open against, I believe it was Jalen Ramsey or someone else. It may have been Derwin James who's on him, who's one of the best safeties and overall defensive backs across the NFL. And he didn't cook him, but he got open fairly easy. And again, McConkey is another guy who made a bunch of plays for this program. He's going to go down as one of the more impactful and most productive, with one of the most rings as far as receivers in Georgia history. He's got 2 of them, and he made 2 touchdown catches against TCU. Again, he's got some highlights. He's got some clips that Georgia fans are going to remember forever. I think he is going to be a massive weapon for Justin Herbert, that Charger offense. They went offensive line in round 1. They were able to kind of sit there and have McConkey fall into their lap because they could have traded up and got guys, because wide receivers were coming off the board, I think, right before him at the end of the first, early second. And he was there for the Chargers. They got him, and I think he's going to make a big impact year 1. So between these 4 guys, and I'm sure Cedric Van Pran is doing great, and all of that, because that guy's going to be a starting center at some point. But Brock Bowers already hearing that he is the player they thought he was, and of course he is. He's the guy's one of the best football players I've ever seen with my own eyes in person. Michael Vick, Todd Gurley are both up there too. Matthew Stafford is up there, but Brock Bowers is right there, and he's a special player. Antonio Pierce was already talking about it, but I definitely think that the Raider fans are going to enjoy watching him and will come to regret, not liking the pick for those who didn't like it. But there were a lot, but I'll tell you what, he's going to be a big-time player. And Kamari Lassiter, a guy who could have gone in the first round. I think people mocked him there early on. He went to the Texans in the second round and could turn out to be a multi-year starter there. But Amarius Mims, I think, is going to start at some point. McConkey is going to make an early impact this year as a rookie. But we'll see. The Bulldogs behind them are gonna, also continue to impress, and we'll see if another catches a touchdown in the Super Bowl game winner. We'll see. But Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint's a guy I continue to hear out of Washington. I don't think he was drafted; he was signed as a free agent, but I think he's gonna make the roster and possibly make an impact this year. Couldn't believe Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint was not drafted, but I've got high expectations for this group of Bulldog rookies. What do you think? Let me know in the comments section below. Get your Bulldog today. Didn't even plug it until the very end here. collegebronze.com. That's where you can get the #1 Georgia Bulldog statue on the market. Promo code DAWGPOST, DAWGPOST. All the information is in the description below in this video. Thank you. Get your Bulldog today, and I'll see you on the next video.